Raider Nation, with the NFL schedule about to be released tomorrow, here is our official NFL 2024 schedule predictions. So starting off hot in week one, the NFL always starts off hot, and they always do a sort of revenge type game. They've done that in the past with Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. So I think what we're going to have here, there's obviously some games that have been confirmed so far. So we're going to have the Saints going to New Orleans to play our old quarterback, Derek Carr. And it's going to be not a primetime game. It's just going to be a standard 10 a.m. game for us on the West Coast. But so starting off with Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, week two, then just much like 2016, we got the Falcons coming to this time Las Vegas to play the Raiders in week two. Kirk Cousins finally going to get his chance, to start hot with the Falcons, much like he did in Minnesota a couple of years. And this is going to be an interesting game. I think Michael Penix Jr., the whole debacle with that, we know what happened. And he should be a Raider by now starting week one. But, Atlanta has other plans in mind. Raheem Morris, great coach, great guy. And yeah, we'll see what happens. But this will be in the 1 p.m. window and either 105 or 120, probably 105 window, I'd say, for week two.
Yeah, this sounds like a Greg Gumbel 105 game. But moving on to week three, this is similar to 2016, like you mentioned. We played the Ravens week four, but early in the season we went to Baltimore. So, here in week three, we're going to be going to Baltimore to play Lamar Jackson and play their juggernaut of an offense. And, I think for here, if we go 2-1 in these three games, I think that's fair.
So here, next game, week four, we got going to Denver. And this game just makes the most sense here. Last year, we played at Denver week one with the whole Jimmy G barely winning the game. And yeah, not much to say. I mean, week four, we just see it as Raiders going to Denver. So
Yeah, Raiders Denver always an early season game. Moving on to week five, we play the Carolina Panthers at home. There's another shitty game. We're going to be playing this Sunday 105 game. Typical Bryce Young. It's going to be a slop fest this game, and not going to be fun to watch, but winnable game for sure. So that's week five.
yep. Then going on to week six, we got the first real primetime game, the first primetime game of the season, going to LA to face the Chargers, much like we did in 2021. And I was at that game, and the whole debacle happened with John Gruden just a few weeks later, and he actually just lost the case today against the NFL. So shout out John Gruden. But Harbaugh, yep, Harbaugh, Herbert, and the whole new receiving crew who no one knows who they are. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah. Then moving on to week seven, we have a bye. Typically there's a bye in between primetime games. We see that happening. So we're going to move on to week eight. We have us playing Pittsburgh on Sunday night in Las Vegas. So a repeat of last year. And we've lost the Steelers twice in a row, going back to 2 seasons ago under Josh McDaniels, and just this past season. So I think we got to get revenge in this game. It's going to be a huge game on Sunday night, prime time with Collinsworth and with Tirico. So this is going to be a huge game playing Russell Wilson. So I think this is going to be our biggest game of the year so far.
Yep. Then week nine, we got the beginning of a few road game stretches. And typically every year we have usually a 2 or 3 road game stretch, and especially in past years when we've gone to Florida, we usually stay out there for a couple of weeks. So right here in week 9 and week 10, we got the Raiders playing the Dolphins. Rematch of last year. It was a very entertaining game. That ball Jalen Ramsey intercepted still hit the ground. Go back and watch it. That hit the ground and we should have won that game. But week 9 and then week 10, we got following up with a week layover, laying over in out in Florida and practicing in one of these, high school or college facilities and getting ready for Tampa on that back to back. But Miami's going to be a tough one. Tampa, Baker's, he's amped now. He's pumped up. He just got the bag. Mike Evans re-signed over there. And yeah, we'll see how their defense looks. But these are two games that the Raiders really can go 1-1 in, or can definitely try to take both, especially with how well and competitively they played Miami last year.
So we have, after the Florida set, we have us going back to Vegas and playing the Chiefs at home. And just like last year, we played them at home before we went on the road on that Christmas Day game. So another monumental game. We haven't beaten the Chiefs at Allegiant Stadium since our move to Las Vegas. So we need to win eventually in our home stadium against the Chiefs, who won a Super Bowl in our home stadium. So another huge game. We got to get revenge on these guys for beating us consistently in Allegiant.
Yep. And then we have another game that I will definitely be attending, and that is Raiders and Rams. Jahan and I are definitely going to try to get out for this one. We'll see how his school schedule works, but I'm actually a college graduate now, so I'll definitely be at this game. I was there in 22 when Baker Mayfield signed the day before and beat us the day after. So, that was honestly tough to watch. And honestly, Josh McDaniels, that was the end of it for him. I think that was the beginning of the end. But we'll get Matthew Stafford and everyone, and we'll see Sean McVay and company.
Yeah. So moving on, next week, week 13, we got the Browns at home. And typically, what we've seen is we tend to play these, AFC opponents down the stretch of the season for wild card positioning. That's usually how the NFL likes to set it up. So starting off that stretch, we're going to be playing Cleveland at home, who when they made the playoffs last year as a wild card team, and they're going to be vying for another wild card contention with Deshaun Watson back under center. So another huge game, and this is going to be for postseason sort of tiebreakers and scenarios and all that. So huge game at home. I like that we have it at home though. That's going to be a big advantage against a tough, feisty Cleveland defense.
Yeah, and next game we got a game where we did not think we were going to win last year on Christmas Day, but we went there and stole it with 2 defensive touchdowns, and we beat the eventual Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. So we'll get another test with them. I think this is going to be week 15, I believe, or sometime late in the season. I can't remember right now. We didn't have cards that that say it, but this will definitely be a test. I mean, I doubt you get 2 in a row in Kansas City like we did last year. They kind of shot the bed in that game, so we'll see how it goes. As long as we don't get blown out.
Yeah, so that was week 14. Then moving on to week 15, we got the Broncos in Las Vegas, and it's going to be a Thursday night game. We predict. We typically play a division opponent on Thursday night with Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit. So, Denver, we beat them I think 8 times in a row now. So hopefully we keep that streak going. I don't know if they're going to be starting Bo Nix at this point in the season. Hopefully they do, because we're not very high on him on this channel. So, hopefully make it 2 more this season against Denver and make it 10 straight. But yeah, Thursday night against Denver.
Yep. And then following up, we got the one schedule leak that we get every year, and we always get a shitty schedule leak. I think last year it was the Jets game or it was the Giants game. It was one of the two, but we never get any good leaks. And this was the only good one we got. Gardner Minshew revenge game. He might even be the backup by this point. Who knows? But the Jaguars are a tough team. Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence, they play well. So they didn't have a great year this past year, but 2 years ago they were really good, and they obviously had that big comeback against the Chargers. So hopefully this will be another game, jostling for positioning, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so then moving on to week 17, again, we got a huge AFC opponent in the Cincinnati Bengals, who I think they're going to be a wild card team this year. The Ravens seem to have kind of a stranglehold on that division in the AFC North. So with the Bengals consensusly as the number 2 team in that division, that's going to be another wild card team that's in the mix. So we got to go and beat Cincy on the road. That's going to be a huge game, and I think we're probably going to be 7-8 point underdogs in that game. So that's going to be a very tough game on the road, but it's a game that we're going to have to win. We lost them in the playoffs in Cincinnati in that building. Derek Carr didn't throw it in the end zone in that final play. So hopefully we get some revenge on them, who they've beaten us a few times in a row. So hopefully we can go and get after Joe Burrow with our front four. And yeah, big game.
Yep. And then right here to close out the season, week 18, we got Jim Harbaugh coming to Allegiant for the first time. And obviously divisional games end the season every year. And yeah, we had Kansas City and Denver the last 2 years respectively. So why not change it up and get the Chargers in week 18 this year, which we did in 2021, which was the greatest Raider season ever, and sent us to the playoffs for the first time with Richie B and company. So yeah, Raider Nation, like, comment, subscribe. We're back at you. I just graduated college, so we'll be back, with more consistent videos. And obviously when the schedule gets dropped tomorrow, we'll be recording that and going through each of the games and predicting, hey, maybe we have this game or maybe we don't. So yeah, hit that subscribe button for us. We're growing again. We just had about 20 plus subscribers in the last few days. And yeah, thanks. We'll see you.